All right, Blake Hornstein joining us now. You were there over in Superior with a very lively and excited crowd for high school football.
Yeah, the dog days of summer are officially over, guys. We have the marching bands, the cheerleading sections, the student sections. The NBC Spartan Sports Complex was an electric factory today, and there's a big reason why the Superior Spartans got to kick off the football season and had an opportunity to not just open the season in style, but to get a monkey off their back and win their first game since 2022. Eau Claire North is the team that stands in their way for the overdue taste of victory. After a pick-6 on their first drive, the Spartans bounce back in a huge way. Maxton Laziach burst through the hole. As my guy Hawk Harrison would say, he gone 76 yards in the blink of an eye. And the very next drive, Laziach plunges his way into the end zone for another score. The Spartans showing everyone what power football looks like. And after a safety, Carson Smith keeps it himself to make it 23-7. Superior's up at the end of the first quarter. Could this be the night? In the second, Laziach again finds the end zone for a first-half hat trick. Superior lives up to its name, but the football gods had other plans. This game went to a lightning delay with the Spartans winning 36-14. It just picked up before our sportscast.